now today we enter Yutet Tishrei. That's not naturally the 19th of Tishrei. It's going to mark the Hilula of a very famous Libyan rabbi. Remember, we've spoken about on this series, possibly about 40, 50 Libyan rabbis already over here. So very, very important we speak about him. His name was Rabbi Yosef Rubin Alkbala. Zechet Tzaddik Libracha. He was actually born in the English year 1977. He passed away, I believe, 1952. It was actually on the 19th of Tishrei. We're talking about here from time of recording, about 73 years ago. He was a great rabbi. He was the author of the Yosef Chen. And let's explore a few of the highlights of the famous Libyan rabbi's life. Now, he came from a great auspice. His father's name was Shmuel, and his mother's name was Aziza. He was born in Tripoli, in Louv, in Libya, in the year 1877. Now, I think it was reported over, he was about maybe 3 years of age. Sadly, his father passed away, and his mother would raise him. At that point in time, there were great rabbis all over the various different vicinities, and really was imbued in a great amount of Torah through great chachamim of Libya, respectively. Now, it's actually interesting. He was, I think, a talmid of another great rabbi, Chacham Shalom Guyeta. Now, we've spoken about the famous Guyeta Libyan family here on various occasions before. There were great rabbis, I think, all among these vicinities at various different points of time, and Chacham Shalom was definitely one of the outstanding rabbis at that point in time. That's what we have to point out also. So that very, very important we learn about that in of itself. I think much is actually documented about Rav Shalom. Also, I think we've spoken about him on various occasions before. So he would be learning under auspices there, and I think he would actually get married, if I'm not mistaken. It says over here, to his daughter. Shigam Nasal Isha et Bito Marat Kamisa. So his wife's name would be Rabbanit Kamisa. So come on, I think it was in the year 1895, towards the end of the 19th century. He would have been about 18 years of age at that point in time. He would be ordained to the rabbinate at that point in time, and will work as a shochet, kosher slaughterer, and also a mohel, a rabbi that will perform circumcisions. He'll be an educator, a teacher of Torah in of itself. He'll be teaching Talmud, Ivrit. Also, remember at that point in time, Zionism was and Hebrew language interest was thriving in of itself. He would become a chazan, a cantor inside the synagogue over there, inside that city. So really, really progressed. Now, I think come what the year 1912, famously he will go to Malta. Now, we've spoken about the country Malta. I think we've recorded actually several. We did a specific video speaking about the history of Malta and the Jewish community over there. And there he would work within regards to the Jewish sphere and instead of the rabbinic sphere over there. I think he would, I think sadly, a year later, in 1913, he heard that his mother had passed away. So remember, 1915 was a turbulent time period all over the world. The First World War, I think, broke out at that point in time. And I think he would have to go back to Libya at that point in time, representing the Kahila, the congregation there. I think he would end up in the area of the town of Kamos, if I'm not mistaken, to help the Jewish community to deal with the consequences of this revolt against the Italian army that would actually take place at that point in time. And the town of Kamos in of itself was besieged, I think, from this specific army. There would be a suffering, tremendous suffering at that point in time, from hunger, I think various diseases. Unfortunately, people lost mortality over that point in time. Now, very, very sadly, I think his son, who was 5 years of age, passed away. That's what is said of here, using the notes actually here from the Homey website once again. So it was obviously a devastating time period for him. It says over here, Beno ben Chamesh niftar, velachrav niftera bito berochosa. I believe it's a very, very sad period in of itself that happened to have been in general. So, So then Chacham Yosef Rubin, I think, went out and really rescued his life. He tried to make sure people would have actually food and medicines and all different equipments and necessities just to stay alive at that stage in time for people that were in troubled situations. And thank God, Baruch Hashem, I think the commander of the Arab army from the city of Masarat, at that point in time, I report what it actually says over here in Hebrew. It will come out more clearer for the person that understands in of itself. It says, Chacham Yosef Rubin siken atzmo v'yatsa el hatzarim al ha'ir lekabel mazon v'trufot. He was giving medication and food. Barachamei Shemayim mefaked hatzava ha'aravi, the mefaked of the Arab army, ma'ir mesarata tziref letzava'o Yehudim ma'ir mesarata שהכירו את חכם יוסף רובין. He apparently recognized Rabbi Yosef Rubin. והמליצו טוב בעדו. He was able to help him with the רצון. קצין טורקי שליווה את הכוחות הרבים היה מוצטפא כעמל. הלא הוא אטאטורק. לימים נשיא טורקיה. So what happened over here, friends, over here, just to summarize over here. I think at that point in time there was a Turkish officer that would so he was, I think, acquainted with these Arab people inside the army, and there was a Turkish officer, I believe, who accompanied the Arab forces. His name was Mustafa Kemal, and he would later on become the president of Turkey. So I think come what, the year 1919, if I'm not mistaken, he would be sent now to the area of Zora to actually work within the rabbinic field over there. And after a period of time, he would return to Tripoli once again and would become, I think, the head of Talmud Torah, a Talmudic academy over there. And I think there were reports over that stage in time in the early 1920s or late teens, there was unfortunately a breakout of the cholera epidemic, which we've spoken about on various occasions before. And unfortunately, many people lost their lives through this plague at that point in time. And it says over here, apparently there was a very, very bad doctor over there at that point in time that would really cause havoc and do a lot of damage, and there were fatalities because of his treatment. In the place where he wants to say, Chacham Yosef Rubin shamad kenegdo, he was able to notice this. Ne'elatz livroch el michutz leTripoli. He warned everyone to go outside of Tripoli. Hu higia lekritim umisham leIzmir. So we would travel to Kritim and then to Izmir in Turkey, respectively. And I think that was a time period of the Turkish-Greek war at that stage in time. Then come 1922, עמדו הכוחות הטורקים בפיקודו של מוצטפא כעמל לכבוש את העיר, חזר מידי היוונים. They would have, because of the ongoing feud that was going on at that point in time, and שריפה גדולה כילתה את הרבעים הנוצריים. So there was a very, very large fire, I believe, at that point in time, which during the Greece, so I'll state it again, the Turkish forces under command of Mustafa Kemal were about to conquer the city back from the Greeks. There was great fire, let's just say, that consumed the Christian quarters. And I think at that point in time, Rabbi Yosef Rubin went to Mustafa Kemal's quarters, who recognized him and promised that no harm will be done to the city's residents. So he was really, people really respected him, and definitely to a degree enough to make sure that he would be protected, and the people of the city in of itself, he would have assurances respectively. Then I think it was come what year 1923, Rabbi Yosef Rubin returned at that point in time to Malta again, to the country of Malta, and there he would work, I think, for 8 years. Then come what Tafresh Tzaddik Aleph, 1931, he will return to Tripoli. So remember, and to Libya. So he was going in and out of Malta, went to Turkey, it was back to Libya. Vishimesh Kamazki Va'ad Akila. He was the secretary of the committee of the congregation. It was a very prominent position. And he was appointed as one of the main teachers of the Talmudic Academy over there also. Then come with the year 1935, he would go to that place over there in itself, Tobruk. There was an Italian place at that point in time in Libya, Al-Gvul Mitzrayim, basically on the border of Egypt. Sham Pagash Benito Muslayani, Shalit Italia, I think a ruler of Italy, if I think was coming close. There was the Second World War was coming close, and it was gonna come to the Tobruk area, and I think it would come very close to that. בין צבאות איטליה וגרמניה לצבא הבריטי, הבריחו את חכם יוסף רובין, חזרו לטריפולי. He'll be able to return back to Tripoli, to Libya at that point in time. אך עולב גבר עליו והוא איבד את מאור עיניו. I think at that stage in time, sadly, I think he would lose his eyesight, and if it was partial or not, but obviously absolutely devastating that would have been. The illness would have overcome him, and he would lose, unfortunately, partially, or I'm not sure if it was totally the eyesight. Coming in 1949, just within a few years after the war, he would be, thank God, and him and his family would actually settle and move to the Yad Amavir, part of northern Tel Aviv area. They make Aliyah to Israel. There were a wave of Aliyahs going on at that point in time all over North African countries, also in Libya at that point in time. I think it's actually known as a Neve Sharet in modern day now. Over there, he would establish a synagogue over there for the Libyan community, respectively, at that point in time. Then come what? The year 1952, sadly, he passed away. That was about 3 years after he arrived in Eretz Yisrael, 19th Tishrei, naturally. I think in his memory, they would open up a kollel for Avrechim, for rabbis, in the Moshav of Dalton. And I think his book, the Yosef Chen, which contained, let's say, drushim, various sermons, and halachot, Jewish laws, would actually start written, I think, in the village of Kamos, respectively, and it would be finished being written, I think, in the island of Malta, if I'm not mistaken. It would come out in Tripoli, I think, I'm not too sure, I think maybe in the year 1928, but I'll have to double check on that. And it was printed through Avram Teshuvah, Hashem Yikam Damo, and it will come out at a later stage through the Machon Ginzei Rafael, I think in the year 1928 also. So you have to point that out. There's actually the orshalom.org website actually does also coin some of the important happenings in his life also, which there's a whole website out there, I think, which actually discusses the various famous rabbis that actually came from Libya in of itself. There's an entire section within regards to that. And it actually describes the time period of his time periods when he was returning to Malta, when he was in Malta, time periods of the war that actually took place on those very occasions before, and what actually happened towards the end of his life. I think he was so he was working basically last few years. He was very much part of the Libyan community, strong position in Libyan community in Eretz Yisrael and Tel Aviv, respectively, at that point in time. Let's explore a few of the highlights from his book, featured on the Hayomi website. Once again, we appreciate for the excellent notes. It states over in Yosef Chen, I think in the second drush, which is printed through Avram Teshuvah from Tripoli. And this was in 1928. So he passed away in 1952. We're talking about 24 years before he passed away. It states where Melamed le'ezor chayil b'asiyat tzedakah liot samech v'tov lev. That's one of the teachings. Another teaching that's taught, I think, on page number 30, Amud Lamed, in the Malat Tzaddik, in the Yosef Chen. It's a third sermon over there, respectively. It says, Melamed li zchut inav le'orot haTorah she'eino ko'es klal ala talmid. The importance of being calm and patient with Talmudim and not getting angry. Another teaching, the Melamed, shemafik tzaro shebocho im kol ha'am habochim bebeit haniftar. This is very much, I think, featured the fourth drush over there, respectively, on page number 38, if I'm not mistaken. Another teaching. Melamed shechidsha Torah she'af nashim tzidkaniot mitcham mekaparat. This is featured very much in page number 41 of this book, I think, talking about the fifth drasha over the fifth sermon, featuring the Eshet Chaim in the Yosef Chen book, also respectively. So he was famous rabbi of his time, a rabbi I believe we've spoken about on various occasions before here in the series. We haven't spoken about many Libyan rabbis quite recently, so it's always a breath of fresh air to speak about them. Rabbi Yosef Rubin Alkbala, very, very great rabbi of his time, a rabbi I'd recommend everyone to research on and learn more about here on this series. Just the importance of learning about them, it's always very essential, and thank God that's something we're able to concentrate on this channel, is to really explore the history of North African rabbis, the let's say the Asian rabbis, the rabbis from the Ottoman countries also respectively, and various other vicinities, also the importance of this, and speaking about them, I feel is very, very essential and very, very important, and I appreciate everyone that is listening also to the class over here today. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. Now, if you descend from any of the great rabbis, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information within regards to the great rabbis you might have been connected to, or if you've got in your family, and so on and so forth. If you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos also to other people, and please join the community over here. We're growing from strength to strength and really, really making fantastic progress just all throughout the various different vicinities in of itself. Now, at the moment, we are reaching, 7,500 subscribers, which is a phenomenal achievement. So please, I urge everyone, please subscribe to the channel, join, and please subscribe. And you want to watch anything, we've got a lot of content on this channel. We're not just recording content on the history of rabbis, we're recording history videos on the various different yeshivot over there, in all over the different Ottoman countries and these countries respectively. We are exploring the history on, let's just say, the history of Ottoman areas, the countries which was taking place, North African places. Also, we're looking at the science, what went on in the Asian countries. We even speak about Ethiopian countries. We learn about the yeshivot in these places also, and we are also doing tours all over Israel. That's another project that we're working on. There's loads of projects we're working on here. We do a daily Daf Yomi tidbit also, where we learn a page of the Talmud every single day and give a short 3-minute exciting tidbit, let's just say, within regards to that. Also, another project, we do videos on the Parshat Shvuah, the weekly Torah portion. That's another project that we're working on, which is seeing phenomenal feedback as a general thing in of itself. And also we will do on the Hebrew month. Another thing that we do also on this channel is we record about current Jewish events that are taking place all over the world, topics, and we look at it from a Torah lens, from a biblical point of view, what's going on in Israel and so on and so forth, and do a lot of tours all over Israel and let's just say the archaeology of Israel and so on and so forth. So many reasons why, please, you can join this channel. And on that note, I'm wishing you all a Chag Sameach. We're finishing the 3rd day of Sukkot now, coming to the 4th day. Ushpizin tonight, also I'm just about to go to synagogue now to pray. And thank you very much for watching, and Chag Sameach and Moadim L'Simcha. Appreciate everyone. And yeah, I'll just leave you with some scenes here of my sukkah over here in Israel, just so that you can enjoy it. Like many of you will enjoy many pictures of great Rabbanim, especially over here. You can see pictures, a selection of pictures of the great Rabbanim of recent years and currently alive, and some sadly recently passed away recently. So on that note, friends, I'm going to wish you a Chag Sameach. Please subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you for watching.